ask questions and be able to enjoy the session. So I would like to welcome Akuya Asante Chiama, a licensed counselor with more than 20 years of work experience, providing short-term crisis counseling to college students, focusing on first-generation college students with disabilities, and low-income students. So I'll let her do more of her intro, that you can see that she's the right person to, do this session with us. And the thing is, when we started doing these training sessions, some of the girls actually requested for this. People have been requesting even on the side that, can we have mental discussion? Because, COVID, coping with COVID and all that. So that's why it's exciting to have an expert who is also a sister and who can do this really well with us. So thank you. We really appreciate your coming. We know that it's about 5 a.m. in the US now, and yes, you are up and coming to do this. So it's okay if you doze off a little, but if you can unmute yourself and then start the ball rolling. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Nana. Yes, it's exactly 5:04 over here. So I apologize, you can't see me that well, but probably I really don't want to be seen, right?
It's okay. It's okay if you don't want to be seen.
Good morning, or wherever you are, whatever the time is. It's a pleasure to be here today. Those who know me well know I'm not a morning person. So anything I do wrong today, blame it on my not being a morning person, okay? Yeah, so today I will go straight into mental health. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go from here. All right. Give me a few seconds.
So please, as she goes on, if you have questions, put them in the chat room and then we'll take them at the end of her presentation. So anything, any idea, any comment that comes through your mind, any question, put them in the chat room.
Nana, I think you need to disable me to share my screen.
Oh, I'm going to make you a co-host then.
Okay then.
Nana, can you send the link for the Facebook Live?
Oh my gosh, sister.
Okay, I'll just, it's all right, don't worry.
Oh, sister?
Yes,
we'll talk later, you finish.
You have to show your face. Okay, have you been able to share your screen now?
I'm about to now.
Okay.
Okay, let me put it in presentation mode. Okay, I'm good?
Yeah, good. We can see and hear you.
Okay, so like Nana said earlier, we'll be talking about mental health today. And what are the topics for today? We're going to talk about it, specifically 2 areas that are more common: the coping mechanisms. What are some of the consequences if you ignore your mental health, right? And we'll have some key notable examples of people who have experienced mental health. So what is mental health, right? Sometimes we hear it being thrown around quite a bit, okay? So how many people think they've experienced at least a symptom of mental health before? Do you know at all? Okay. So mental health.
I have before.
You have before?
Yes, okay. So you go on.
We'll see as we go on. Mental health includes our psychological, emotional, and social well-being, right? It affects how we think, how you feel, and how you act. It also determines how we handle stress, we relate to others, and make choices. And so it's very important that we address it from time to time, or at least be knowledgeable about it, okay? It happens in every stage of our life, from our childhood, adolescence, and also through adulthood. Okay. So as with cancer, right, diabetes and heart disease, mental illness are often, sorry, what's happening to my screen? I'm moving back and forth. I told you I'm not awake today, so y'all.
Okay, it's okay. We have all the.
Okay, I'm trying to move. Give me a second here. You guys are right here. Okay. All right, let's go. Now, mental illnesses may be caused by a reaction to environmental stresses, right? Sometimes it's also genetic based on our family history, or sometimes chemical imbalances in our bodies, or it could be a combination of these. It's not only just one specific area. Okay. Now, what do they consider what mental health is, right? The global view of mental health, because it varies from one place to the next. Many communities suffer with the stigma of mental health diagnosis. Try to say you have mental health in the US, in Africa, in Asia, and you're going to be stigmatized. We are working on it, but we are not there yet. And why does this happen? We can look at early beliefs about what causes mental health issues, including people thinking that if you have mental health, it has to be something that is demonic or spiritual, or you are possessed. And so people start being afraid, right? And then they discriminate. And there's also the belief people who are mentally ill are dangerous. Right? I know when I was younger, if I saw somebody who's mentally ill, which was really the extreme part, the psychotic part, I'll be afraid. You see them on the road, some of them, those are really the extreme ones. You are afraid. Nobody said much. You just know, Ghana tell bottom, right? So that's what I'm referring to. Or also the assumption that people can just snap out of depression. It's okay, sorry. We can crave now, and anyway, I'm assuming everybody speaks to you, at least understand it. I'm sorry if you don't, but you can maybe read along. Or addiction is not a disease, it's a choice, and it shows a lack of willpower. For example, if I have an alcohol problem or substance abuse problem, then it's my fault, right? I just need to stop doing it and move on. So those kind of issues then poses a dangerous, place for mental health in the society because of such stigmas. All right. Individuals with mental health problems cannot recover, and therapy is a waste of time. Right? Why go into therapy? It's not important. You'll be able to resolve your issues. Okay. And while people openly seek treatment for a broken arm or heart disease or what have you, most people don't seek treatment for mental health. It's actually kept a secret and avoided due to the same stigmas we've spoken about. I have a lot of slides, so I'll try to move on quite quickly. And no one is immune. I really don't care who you are. I care, but I don't, in terms of mental illness. So let's be aware it can affect all of us at any point now in our lifetime, okay? But it's important that we face it together. And part of creating a healthy family relationship climate is, first, we need to acknowledge we are all in the same boat, and none of us is immune to life challenges, right? The poor, rich, old, or young, and we all need help occasionally. From time to time, we struggle with thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are unproductive. And you find it difficult, right, to sometimes even muster the motivation to take action needed to interrupt some of these issues, to help you live a more positive life, okay? So like I said, we're going to talk about depression and anxiety because they are two most common forms of mental illness. Depression. What is depression? Especially major depression. At least a period of 2 weeks when a person experiences a depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasure in daily activities, and had majority of specified symptoms. Okay, specified symptoms. What kind of symptoms are we talking about here? And these are some of the symptoms of major depression. There's a loss of interest in hobbies and activities. You're moving or talking more slowly. You're feeling restless. You cannot concentrate much. There are changes in your appetite. Sometimes you gain more weight. Sometimes you lose weight, right? Sometimes there are thoughts of death or suicide. You have aches, pains, headaches, cramps. You have difficulty sleeping, and frequent emotional outbreaks. Sometimes you're not even sure what makes you cry. You just start crying uncontrollably. So I put a little depression kind of thing over here to the left, where it helps you look at the different symptoms in case all of it is not mentioned. Again, I have quite a few number of slides, so I just wanted to make sure I move quickly so you can also look at some of the pictures. All right, and what causes depression? Now I know what my symptoms are. Why am I depressed all the time? And it varies. It could be physical health, right? And certain medical conditions that you may have that is making you depressed. If I've had some kind of chronic diagnosis, of course, I'm worried about it, right? And it can make me depressed because I'm thinking, will I get better? Will I not? Or what is it? And sometimes, yes, when you are a female, beautiful females, we have some sex hormones that impact how we feel, right? And we know if you are younger, then it could be your menstrual period, could be an issue. Pregnancy, it's a beautiful thing. But sometimes when women are pregnant, we have morning sickness, our hormones are changing, and it can all cause us to feel depressed. And then you have the baby. When baby comes, sometimes you have some what they call baby blues, right? But baby blues are just, it would last for a shorter time than depression, which will last much longer. And then from there, you go to either perimenopause, before, then menopause, and postmenopause. So basically, our own female sex hormones can affect how we feel, and sometimes it will cause us to be depressed. Also, family history and genetics, depending on the kind of family you're coming from, some are more predisposed to being depressed. Poor nutrition, you got to eat well. We all need to eat well. A balanced diet is always helpful. If not, sometimes some foods will actually cause depression. Stressful life events, it can overwhelm us, and it happens to all of us at one point in our life because you are human, and when you are alive, life happens, right? You lose somebody to death, somebody you love. It's not easy. You have a job loss. You really maybe like your job, but for whatever reason, sometimes a company may go belly up. You got to be laid off. On the job issues, issues with your boss or with other staff members. Abuse, right? School-related experiences, poverty, violence, the kind of personality that you are, relationship problems, boyfriend issues, husband, wife, uncle, aunt, whatever that may be. And of course, currently the pandemic, right? It can cause many of us to be depressed. A lot of uncertainties in the world. And so I just took a look at a study that was conducted by WHO in 2015. And if you look at the left, it talks about depression disorders and how it affects females and males. And if you look at the graph to the left, you can tell that for every continent, you can tell women are the highest who are affected by depression. So, and it means we need to do something about it, be aware of it, and at least make sure we are addressing it. If we know it when we are younger, we can take the steps to make sure that as we go through our adulthood, we know what to expect, what kind of symptoms to look for, and so forth. And then you look to the right-hand side, it gives a graph of age, the age groups, right? So if you look at it right from 15 and older, you can tell it still affects women more. And again, it's likely probably due to our biological hormonal. We talked about that earlier, okay? So now let's move on to anxiety. What is anxiety? Anxiety It's a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. Of course, sometimes we all have anxiety from time to time for different reasons, but this is when it's lasted for a longer time, okay? If I'm going to, of course, if I'm doing a presentation just like this and I'm kind of anxious about it, that is okay. I'm going to a wedding. My son is doing something, let's say sports, right? In a competition, you're a little nervous about it. That is okay. But when it's a long period and you are just anxious over so many things, then it becomes a problem. Okay, but because we have different kinds of anxiety, which I've listed on the left-hand side, it will be a lot to talk about it all day. So we're going to just focus on generalized anxiety disorder. Okay. All right. So what is generalized anxiety disorder? If you look at the picture to the left, just read a few of what's going on, and you can see she's worried about so many things at the same time, right? Like, oh, okay, am I doing anything wrong? Am I going to look, some of us have done it before. You're going somewhere and you're in a state of panic and so anxious about what is going on. So people with this GAD disorder, they display excessive anxiety or worry, right? For most days and at least 6 months or more about several things, like personal health, your work, your social interactions, everyday routine life circumstances. And the fear and anxiety can cause significant problems in areas of your life, such as your social interactions, school, and work, because you're always worried, right? All the time. So it can be a drawback. And again, women are twice as likely to develop GAD in their lifetime than men. So we got to take care of ourselves. Now, so I'm acting this way. I'm thinking of gazillion things in a day. Why am I doing this? So what are some of the symptoms, right? Right. You begin to fear a lot. You're always anxious, so you're kind of always afraid, right? You can't control what you're worrying about. You have muscle tension. Your heart is just beating uncontrollably all the time. You cannot sleep. You cannot concentrate. Physical discomfort as well. And you're restless. You're feeling on edge. And you're just irritable because you're always thinking about a gazillion things. All right. So this is how it may look into the adult person to the left, how to recognize that you're anxious or even in somebody else. And to the right-hand side, you have how it may affect children, because sometimes it's a little different to look at an adult, compare them to a child, and it will show up in different ways, okay? All right. Now, so let's talk about GAD. Again, environmental factors. You see that lady to the left, you can tell, oh my God, she's looking like she's about to explode. Look at her thoughts all over the place. But why is this? All right. And we talked a little bit about environmental factors. Trauma, stressful events such as abuse, death of a loved one, divorce, relationship issues, you change school or different jobs, they can all trigger GAD. So again, genetics will play a role sometimes in that. Health issues, medications, and then negative thinking. Sometimes some of us, we think more negative than others. So constant negativity in your mind can cause you to have generalized anxiety disorder, stress, and your personal triggers. You've gone through a specific difficult time, traumatic experience, and so anytime you come across something that is almost similar to what you've gone through, you find yourself getting very anxious. So it's good to know your personal triggers so you can address your issues well. Now that we've talked about depression and anxiety, so how do I cope? How do I cope with this? First of all, it's very important you see your doctor and be very honest about your symptoms. Sometimes it's not easy. I know it depends on what part of the region you're in. It affects going to the doctor and being honest. Even sometimes it's funny. if you've been to the doctor, you go in the doctor, but you kind of don't want the doctor to know that you are like this, right? So you kind of hide behind it and ask you, hey, how long have you been experiencing this? You know it's 6 months, and you're like, oh, hey, Biana, I said last week or baby or 2 weeks, right? So you need to be honest so they can give you the right diagnosis to help you. You need to eat a healthy, well-balanced diet. We talked about that. I cannot stress that enough. I don't always do it. Yesterday I had about 2 cookies. Oh, that was good though. But I'll try not to eat some more today. And then daily physical exercise, including nature walks. Exercise community, you got to move. I cannot emphasize that enough. Every day you have to. There are times that you may not be able to, but you have to make it your goal, just like eating. Okay, you can swim, you can skip, you can run if that is your thing. Whatever you can buddy up with somebody who can motivate you, or you can motivate each other to exercise. It's very, very important to exercise. Positive thinking, I mentioned that a couple of seconds ago. But first of all, you have to acknowledge you have a health issue. There's nothing wrong in acknowledging that, and it's okay. Supportive friends, family, and any group, right, that can help you address your issues. Not somebody who's going to be a downer, right? Somebody who you can trust, and they can truly support you and understand what you're going through. Okay, breathing exercises and or meditation, those also help. But if for whatever reason the ones we've just spoken about do not work well, then you need to go into counseling. It's very important, right? Let somebody, a professional, sit down with you and help you figure out what is going on so they can give you ways to address what you're going through, especially if you want to be better for yourself and your family. And lastly, medication, which is typically the last resort. But if you need it, then that is what you do. So let's say, well, okay, yeah, I'm just looking at my time here. I don't want to do anything, right? If you don't do anything, this is what might happen. Physiologically, you're not going to be strong. All these issues, medical issues, can happen to you. Constant headaches, heart disease, blood pressure, etc. Okay, or it impacts families in different ways, right? If I'm so anxious all the time, maybe I will not go to work. It will impact my family's income, right? School, I may stop going to school. And also, it may make me very angry, right? And I'm more aggressive. And so I put a little picture over there. And we've all heard stories about, oh, I didn't know he was so upset. What happened? I've never known him to be so angry, or she's so angry. She was so quiet. She was so nice. Boom, right? I could tell recent stories, but we don't have time for that. But we have to all take care of ourselves so we don't end up just expressing anger in unhealthy manners, okay? So those are some of the things we all need to look out for. It's very, very important, okay? Now let's go to some notable people who've experienced mental health issues. And I brought these people out because...
Just a minute, Akuya. Please, those who joined in late, we are putting our questions in the chat room, and the questions will be taken after her presentation. So have patience and keep the questions coming. And also, okay, if you can up your volume a little bit, since some people are listening on Facebook and it's quite difficult for them to hear. Thank you.
Okay. Is it better now? I hope so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right. Okay. No worries. Now, so let's look at these people who've experienced mental health issues. Actually, as I was looking at them, I was kind of surprised with some of them. So let's go ahead. Let's see the first person. This is Dwayne Johnson. He's an actor here in the US. And he's like, okay, depression never discriminates. And made mention of that. And it took him a long time to realize that. But the key point, you shouldn't be afraid to open up, all right? Especially men. So we all need to know that we are not alone, okay? So And this is Penny Labani. She's a South African. She found herself in the psych ward, right, after having a baby. So now she uses her influence to talk about mental health issues and how we can all get rid of the stigma. Trevor Noah. I was like, what? Trevor Noah? I mean, he's always cracking up. Seems like he's always in a funny mood. Everything is good, right? Trevor also experienced depression before, right? Okay. Now we have Ashley Judd, an actress in the U.S., and I put her on because of her experience as a child, right? So, as she says, she had a dysfunctional childhood. And so because of that, she felt isolated and insecure. So fast forward in her adulthood, then it became a problem. So if you don't check what happens in your childhood, then it can really affect you when you get older and you have difficulty understanding why am I this way. So it's very important, okay? Okay. Now, Kelly Rowland, she used to be part of the Destiny's Child, that's Beyonce's group when she started singing. She also went through depression after an abusive relationship. So it's very important we recognize those issues. And also when she had a baby, she went through depression. And this is also one of the Destiny Child's singer when they were together. She also went through depression, but hers in particular, the quote that impacted me the most was she said, I was to that place where it got so dark and heavy because sometimes you feel like I am the provider. I take care of people. I'm not supposed to feel this way. And sometimes women feel that way. We shoulder so many responsibilities. You don't feel like, oh, no, I should do it, right? It's okay. This is my role. Okay. Okay. All right. Kerry Washington, scandal star, right? She had an eating disorder, anxiety, depression, all together. And so now she says, my brain and heart are really important to me. I don't know why I wouldn't seek help to have those be as healthy as my teeth. I go to the dentist, right? So you go to the dentist for your teeth. I think we talked about it. So she's saying, why don't I take my brain to somebody who can help me? And I need to go to a shrink. Okay. So now we have Calligraph, also a Kenyan hip hop, talks about being depressed. And he cites his depression as people bringing you down instead of encouraging you. And sometimes we all may be guilty of that. When somebody sets out to do something, we are quick to judge them. And sometimes you never know how it impacts people. So we all need to be careful. Taraji Henson, she's a star of Empire. She's also experienced depression for a while, and she talks about it. She's actually funding a lot of students who are going into psychotherapy in the U.S. Okay, and she mentions that you can talk to your friends, but you need a professional who can give you exercises. If I'm going to change for the better, I need honesty, and sometimes your friends and family don't have it in them to be brutally honest, and that is true, because we all want the best for our family, and so sometimes it's hard. It's really hard to just be honest with them. So that's what she's talking. Of course, Alicia Keys. I never knew she had gone through depression. Okay, but she was saying when her grandmother passed, she was feeling so sad all the time, and she couldn't shake it. She started hiding her feelings, and she couldn't even tell her family or friends how twisted she was, how exhausted, or how angry. She became good at hiding these feelings. So John Hamm also went through depression, and his depression, the onset was when he lost his dad. He was in college, university, and so previously, I think he had lost his mom 10 years before that. So when that happened, he just couldn't handle it. So this is also to talk about university and college students who are in that age bracket. Halle Berry, after her marriage with her previous husband, David Justice, according to her, she also went through depression. I'll never have thought that she would have gone through depression. Her sense of worth, right? She didn't feel so worthy at all. And I never would have thought. I was like, oh, okay. Halle Berry is real. It's real. And Serena, we all know her. At least majority of us should. And she also experienced depression when she had a child, and also there was a time medical diagnosis. She had a blood clot in her lung. And then we have this one too. She is from South Africa, and she also fought depression. So she criticizes society's obsession with perfectionism, right? And you know how you always want everything to be right because you've been taught that way. And when it doesn't go right, sometimes it's very hard to accept that, hey, it's okay. I shouldn't be perfect. All right. So we come to that point that we talk about a few takeaways. Okay. It's not always an exciting topic to address. It can be challenging, but we have to do it because we are here today and you never know how you can impact somebody. So please, there's nothing wrong in seeking assistance with your mental health. You care for your brain the way you care for your heart. Let's get rid of that strong Black woman mentality. We can fail sometimes or fall. It's okay. You don't always have to have everything right. It is all right. Because sometimes you hear, oh, be a strong Black woman, okay? It's not always the case. So you try to live up to this standard, and then you're going through depression and anxiety, and your whole body is twisted up, but nobody knows because you have that strong Black woman face on. Let's try to be a friend of each other and our keeper of others and ourselves. And takeaway two, you got to be supportive of others and don't be quick to judge or be impatient with your friends and family. We are different, right? I'm not the same as you. I have different qualities. You have different qualities, different genetics. So what I may go through, you might not go through it the same way. All right. So let's refrain from being that kind of friend contributing to the stigma of mental health. We need to be part of the solution, not the problem. So if you look at the left, you see some examples that help us all be supportive of each other. It's not always easy, but you got to be educated about it so it helps you. For example, instead of saying something like, oh, it's not worth worrying about that, why stress about it? It's better to say, is there anything I can do to help? Okay, so then the last takeaway I have, especially in these days, is even harder, right? With COVID, it's harder. Depression, anxiety is on the rise. We can't go out, can't interact with friends, go on vacation, etc. Right? But more importantly, we really have to, you have to love yourself. We all have to love ourselves. Take care of you. You seek help when you need to, and be the best of you according to your God-given gifts. So I thank you today. Am I still awake or I'm dreaming that I'm giving the presentation? Maybe I am. But thank you
Once we can
very much.
see and hear you, you are still on.
Yes, yes. Thank you. And these are uh, um, the few suggestions that I have for mental health. It's a very broad topic, and it's hard to always condense it. But I thought, this is what
Yeah.
I could do
Yeah.
just to be of service to you guys. So Nana, over to you.
Thank you very much. Well done. Shall we all give a thumbs up by just showing our finger or the emoji? Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You've done well with even the time that you were, presenting. I think you've gone well. Thank you so much. And, yeah,
You gave me
yeah.
30 minutes. I think I did pretty good.
Yes, you did it. You did it. Yeah. And so we have questions in the chat room if you are ready to take them. And unfortunately, I had some tech challenges, so I lost some of the questions. So I'd like Sandy, who is a sister also in the UK joining us to read the questions so that Akuya, you can take them for us.
Let's see if my brain can function.
Okay. All right. Hello. Thank you, Nana and Ikuya. Thank you for this lovely presentation. So much information. The first question is, it's from Apna. She says, is it bad to self-diagnose?
Yes, I think it is bad to self-diagnose, right? Because you remember I was talking what you need to do if you feel like you have symptoms of any type of mental illness. The first thing is you want to go to your doctor because you want your doctor to be able to rule out any other medical conditions that might be going on that is causing the depression. So first of all, you go to your doctor, talk to your doctor about it, and they will make sure that it's not medical or physiological. Then you can put in the parameters for addressing your mental health.
Akuya, please, some of us don't have, our personal doctors. So can we just walk into, let's say a health center and ask for help?
I believe so. Again, this has to do with the region in which you live. In the U.S., of course, is our primary care physicians. UK, I'm not so sure what it's called, but basically, whoever you see on a regular basis. For example, if I'm going to, let's say I feel like I have malaria, who am I going to go to in Ghana, right? I'm going to go to some kind of doctor, right? So when you go to that doctor, at least a doctor you see on a regular basis, you can tell them what you are experiencing, and they should be able to at least give you a referral to go see somebody who is more knowledgeable about that, or a special, what do you call it? Somebody's specialty that addresses those kind of issues.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
Thank you. So the next question is from Ifya Eya, and her question was, she wants you to explain a bit about bipolar disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah, so those were additional anxiety disorders that I didn't touch on because of the time factor. But bipolar, typically they have like two different kind of things going on. They have the manic phase and then the phase where they're a little more depressed. So it's up and down, right? There are times that you see them very, very quiet. They're in that depressive state. They don't feel like being bothered with anybody. They're in their own little corner. They're sleeping. All the curtains may be drawn. And then suddenly, in a couple of days, where they are like so overly excited, right? They are off to Dubai. They are shopping. They want you to come along. And then you're looking at them like, okay, what the heck is going on, right? And so they have these lows and then they have ups and downs. That's what bipolar is typically. And then OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, usually it's either your thoughts or something you do in a kind of a ritual way. You have to do it in a systemic way all the time. Right? For example, if I'm about to eat, then the fork has to be in a very specific place, the knife, and I have to do that all the time, every single day. If it's not in that specific order, you get thrown off, right? And then they begin to feel a lot of anxiety. Or my thoughts, thinking about the same thing all over and all over again in the same pattern all the time, for a certain duration, all the time, more than even some people, more than 6 months. They think about it all the time, and that is OCD. Or, if you know some people, when you go to their home, maybe they have a pillow or something in the chair, right? And you sit there. As soon as you move it, unconsciously they come and they maybe kind of move it and position it the way that it was before you sat there. You go to use the restroom, you come back, they've moved the pillow and positioned it because you move it, because it just doesn't work well for them in their head, right? So they have to let it sit a certain way. Otherwise, it's very uncomfortable for them. So Yeah, that's
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I remember a lady I worked with who said she always felt her hands were dirty, and she could wash her hands so often that sometimes it got sore because she would wash it, touch something, go back to washing it, and she kept it. So she said even when she was going out with her family, she could be very late because she would just keep washing and washing and washing. Later on, she disclosed other things, and it kind of, made me understand. And she finally sought medical help. But just to add on to what Ikuya is saying, a lot of these repetitive actions have their roots in something else.
absolutely.
And, back to what Ikuya said about seeing a doctor and hopefully being given the right support could help.
Yes.
Our next question is from our sister Sally. Sally Addy. Sally is the daughter of Angela Merkel. So she's joining us from Germany. Her question is,
You better show your face.
She said, what are the signs of postpartum depression?
Okay. It varies, but typically you see a lot of crying, right? And even having the baby, right? If it's so bad, unfortunately, sometimes people feel like they wish they hadn't had the baby, okay? Because it's so overwhelming, right? The baby is crying. They don't know how to cope with the baby, okay? But most of the time, a lot of tears when it comes to postpartum depression and the inability to say, I need help, okay? You feel like you have to do all of it. You're washing the bottles, you're changing the diapers, you know, uh, I mean, we are all females here, but, your breast is taking all sorts of conditions. It's heavy, it's milking, you're looking at yourself, and you even kind of self-hate because your body changes, right, because of the baby. And coming to terms with it is just not, it is difficult because pre-pregnancy you were a certain way, and now you look at yourself and you don't like yourself anymore, right? Somebody asks you how your baby's doing, you find yourself crying, and you're wondering why you're crying because it's supposed to be a happy moment. So those are some of the signs of postpartum depression. Or even you don't want anything to feed, you don't want to feed the baby, right? You give it to somebody else. I don't know if you've known people who've had it, but they always give the baby to somebody else. Like, oh, the baby's crying, you go pick him up. You go pick her up. Oh, can you feed the baby? So they kind of avoid the baby in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So those are some of the symptoms with
Wow.
postpartum depression.
It's good to know. This is so good to know because, as we grow up, some of us may, go into such conditions and then we need to understand that, what is happening is normal so that we ask for, the necessary help. Because working mothers, and going to as a working mother and, a leader maybe in your work and, if you are going through postpartum, depression, I think it can be very challenging at that time. Yeah.
You can even be upset with the husband, right? Because how did you get pregnant? Well, or
Yes,
whoever
yes. Yeah.
or whoever the baby mama is. Yeah, because they're asking all these questions and you get upset. So it can feed off in so many different ways.
And I think I'll
Thank you.
just add that sometimes even the pressure, you may be going through that postpartum, depression, but the story you've always heard is you've had a baby, you should be very happy. But somehow you are
Yeah.
not feeling that happiness or joy, and the baby is seeming more like a bother, a problem, and I've heard of cases where people don't want even to see their children. And in very severe cases, unfortunately, some, lose it and might even, harm the baby.
Yeah.
And because of the struggles, yeah. The next
Thank you.
question is from Ama Efriye. She says, are all people who are mentally ill considered mad?
Um, Thank you for that question. Not necessarily. Of course, psychosis, right? And which then makes somebody more psychotic. And you're talking about people who might be schizophrenic. Let me just use that example. But I tell you, yeah, so I'll show you something. You see this big book here, right? This is the DSM-4, and this has all the mental disorders, this book. So, so if you're talking about mental disorder, this is what we use to diagnose. So it's quite thick. So it has all sorts of disorders in there. But yes, not everybody with mental illness is what you call psychotic. But yes, some are psychotic. So somebody who, I'm using the example of schizophrenic, they have more hallucinations, they're more delusional, right? And some will be talking to themselves. They don't dress appropriately when it's cold, right? Some of them, I mean, when it's hot, they'll be wearing like cold stuff with like 10 jackets on, and they look disheveled walking on the street. So yeah, that population may look like they are mad, right? That is usually the typical kind of a stereotype we see when we talk about somebody who's mentally ill. Yes. But for the purpose of discussion today, when you look at depression and anxiety, yes, it's part of mental illness, but it's not psychotic. And so usually that is where the difference lies. So those who are very psychotic, yes, they need to be on medication right away. You know, this type of kind of self-help a little bit doesn't address all of those issues, and they need that medication to help them function in life.
Wow. Wow.
I have a question, please.
Yeah.
Does all mental health, or do all mental health conditions require medication?
Again, we have mild, moderate, or severe. So that is why, again, I cannot emphasize enough seeing a doctor, okay? Because, for example, your level of, or what you would consider mild might be my moderate or somebody severe, right? So depending on if we're on this in different homes, because the family might not want me to seek help, they might consider me as mild. Maybe I'm severe or somebody else is moderate. So it kind of varies, the severity of it. But you need to see your doctor. You really need to see your doctor to rule it out.
Wow. Any more questions? I think I'll go around a bit before I come back to Sandy. I think the questions in the chat room. I'll go around a bit. Zoe, are you there? Zoe, do you have a question? Amma Free. Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Abna, I think you asked a question in the chat room, but you can still ask more. Okay, what do people who don't have access to help do? From Abna, yeah.
Abna, that is a tough one. If you don't have help, in what sense? Let's look at, okay, so you don't have a doctor, right? So it cannot be, unfortunately.
Abna, can you explain? Can you give an example?
Misdiagnosed, right? Sometimes it might be misdiagnosed because you are not able to get help from a doctor, right? And then if you look at the family support or of the friends that you have, if somebody's knowledgeable in there, they'll be able to help you out, give you the support you need, or at least point you in the right direction. That is why, depending on where you are, there are different support systems. Even if, let's pretend I don't even have a doctor, I don't know anybody, I can talk to my mother. For those who are mothers, You have to learn about these issues to be able to support the children. The children need to know they can come to you as a mom to say, you know what, in school, this is happening to me. I am feeling this way. And then you can talk about it. What happened, right? It's always, because there's always an underlying reason why these symptoms are coming up. And if you don't know or you're not willing to listen to the child, it's very easy to just kind of tell her, oh, it's okay. What's going on?
Yeah,
What is
yeah,
it?
yeah. You'll
Just
be
go and
well,
study.
be fine.
Just go and study. It'll go away, or it's not a
Yeah.
big deal. Or your friend did this. Yeah, I don't know how. Just get on with it. You'll be okay. We are strong. Be a strong woman, and comments like that. I know. Yes, it's a difficult one when you don't have any assistance. But again, depending on the kind of mental illness, the child or an adult may just hide it, right? And you go through life, you'll be able to function a little bit, because we have those who just kind of act like they function, but inwardly they are dying inside. Okay, so you go around, yeah, you go to work, but you put on the smile, yeah, but inside it's not working out well. So eventually, then it may take a toll on the person's body, and God forbid, they might lose their life, right? Because it's been just months, years of dealing with this kind of issue, or they become very secluded and isolated. They stop going everywhere. And if you know some of your friends or family members, after a while, they don't show up to anything, right? Oh, why? I don't know where I'm back. Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen her for. Oh no, she's not. Does she pick up your calls? So, if they don't have help, unfortunately, it can be quite detrimental. But I still believe in every society there's somebody who can at least listen. And sometimes all people need is somebody to listen first. Now, when it's psychotic, then I'm sorry, and I hate to see that happen, but it may not end up well. That's why sometimes you see people maybe are walking on the street. They've already passed that phase, and there's not much we can do because now that's just it. But for the other conditions that can be helped, right? We should all try to be a little knowledgeable and sympathetic. Okay, it may not be you. Yes, maybe you can handle whatever, but somebody else cannot. So we got to look at that. So while we're talking about it, and the world and all these stars are talking about it, it's maybe an opportunity for all the different regions, right, to provide the support our people need. Okay, so that it won't be a case of the question that you asked, that how about you have no help? It shouldn't be like that. We should have help. The educational system, even in Ghana, I don't know how many counselors are there, right? But it should be something that should be looked at. I was talking the other day to somebody, and I remember, of course, went to Holy Child, and I was saying we never had a counselor on site. We
You
never.
were talking to me.
You? Okay, see my memory. There's no counselor on site. But during that time, there are a lot of us who may have experienced life events. Some people lost a parent, right? Some people kind of did not have that right interaction with us on campus. They went through different things. And I know it still happens on different campuses in Ghana. So different struggles, but there's nobody to talk to. No adult, I should say. You may talk to your friend, and depend on whoever, they may blow you off. So anyway, so hopefully all these discussions that are happening in the world will help different regions implement structures that will address different problems for the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Nana, I
Yes,
just want to.
yes, Sandy. Yes, Sandy.
I just want
you
to
have
add
ask
on
your
to
question now.
what Equia said. I had a question, but I'll just add on to what she said. The importance of exactly before. I think it's so important to have somebody you can talk to. But usually we'll talk to somebody we trust and we know they will listen to us. So sometimes it may be a good friend, but a parent, an auntie, an uncle, somebody who, you can open up to, because it could be that something happened to you and nobody knew, and you've kept this thing and it's eating you up. And sometimes in our culture as well, because we have to be good and obedient and all of that, things have happened and you don't know where to take it. You might even go and tell a parent or an auntie and they'll say, also then the blame comes back to you. So you are walking around carrying this burden. Again, most of us, we pray, we go to church, but to add on to what Ikuya said, the pastors are not necessarily experienced or got any professional knowledge about mental health per se. So anything they can't address, sometimes they take it down the spiritual side and say a demon or something is chasing you. And I think sometimes that is really the beginning of the end, because somebody is already distressed and you're now telling them a demon is chasing them or somebody is, in quotes, doing you. So that is even adding more to your mental stress. And I'm not saying we shouldn't pray. I'll say pray. But ideally, when you are going through these stresses, don't go and stand in front of a church and let a pastor be hitting your head and saying he's going to drive something out. Because I personally believe it worsens the situation. Prayer is good, but the pastor is not experienced in mental health issues. And when people can't handle issues or don't understand it, instead of being honest enough professionally to say, you know what, Antekia, take Nanama to see the doctor. They want to pretend they know it all, and they don't know it. They might give you bottles of olive oil and gallons of holy water, whatever. God helps, but it will be good to seek the right form of support. Okay.
Okay. Our time is fast spent. I think we'll be wrapping up soon. If somebody else has another question or a comment in the chat room, we can take it. Sandy, you can take the question. I still don't have my chat. I lost it again. I've had challenges.
Okay. There was a question. Somebody said, she's Ya Obriyeboa. He said, what do they mean when they say someone is bipolar?
Oh.
Okay. I think that's
again.
We talked about that.
You answered that.
Yes.
We can wrap it up. Yeah.
Bipolar is just basically a manic phase and a depressive phase, right? So there are two things going on, not necessarily at the same time, but at different times, where the person is just, they have the low moods. They're, very quiet, just to themselves, don't want to be bothered with anybody doing a thing, not participating in things that they're supposed to be doing. And then they have that manic phase where they're extreme. They're very excited. They want to jump off the mountain. They want to go parasailing. They want to do all sorts of things. So it's usually the extreme ends. And those two usually together in one person is being bipolar. I mean, that's the most simplistic way I can put it. So they say bipolar, right? And low, high, low, high, low highs all the time.
Yeah. Thank you very much. In fact, I don't want to go, and but because it's getting very interesting now. But we know we've had more than our time now, so we need to go, and maybe another time, continue another time. So I would say thank you very much, Ikuya, for coming. And please, if we can chat on the side. You can WhatsApp each other on some of these issues too. Let's continue talking about it. My most important lesson I'm taking away is to get help, to talk to somebody, not a nurse, talk to a doctor. If I have a doctor, yes, I have to talk to a doctor about it. Sometimes maybe we tell our family, but if we have a doctor, I think the most important thing I'm learning is that we must talk to the doctor. So thank you very much, because they are the experts. Yeah. So thank you very much for coming, and we hope to talk more about it, as I said. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for those of you who could join in, and if some of you are also watching on Facebook. I've had some technical challenges, so I couldn't read some of the questions from the comments on Facebook, but because the video will be there, we'll go back to the comments and, send some answers or, appreciate those comments. So thank you very much, Akuya. You can go back to sleep, or you can stay with us longer so that we take a selfie. We usually take a selfie before we go. So everybody, if you can share your face, or you can show your finger, just put your video on so that we take a quick screenshot. Yeah, are you there? I hope you are there, because you need to take this photo. Sandy, you can also take it. Sylvia, if you are there, please take this screenshot. So are we ready to take it? When you are ready, say cheese. I can't see you. I can't see you. Cheese.
Oh.
Great.
Okay.
Sylvie?
Okay, has somebody taken it?
Yes, has somebody taken it?
Sandra, you need to take.
I think Yao came out.
Oh, yeah.
Sister?
I plan to take it, then my ancient phone said I don't have enough memory, so sorry.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, take it please, because I'm using my phone. I can't take it, but let's pause.
Hold on.
Can you see my lip? Yeah,
who is taking it? Who is taking it?
I've admitted Yao. See.
Sorry, okay, has it been taken? If not,
No,
give me.
Sandra, it hasn't been taken. It hasn't been taken.
Hey, please, keep smiling. Keep smiling. I'm trying to get space. And then now, hey, this is hard. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. I've got a better phone here.
I know Yao is gone.
Let's wave. Let's smile and wave whilst we prepare. Hello, Quaver. That's my niece, Araba Quaves. Hello. Brother, I need to see your face.
Oh, sorry.
I'm coming. No, please don't go. Don't go. It takes time. The phone will come on in 2 seconds. I'll take shots. Oh, hello. This is Sheila. Yay. Hello, Rhoda.
Hello.
How knows all these people?
Hey, they are my crew. The Sandy crew.
You want to take?
Okay, the phone is ready now. 2 seconds, please.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese.
Another cheese.
Smile. You're on camera.
Thank you.
Yay. We got it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love the selfies because it boosts my energy up. Yeah, can we have a closing prayer? And yeah. And Rhoda, can you do it for us?
Okay.
Thank you.
Our Lord and personal Savior, we thank you once again for a great section like this. Lord, we commit ourselves into your hands. Whatever we learned here, may we know it well and use it accordingly. Father Lord, any one of us here who is suffering from depression but is not able to open up, we pray that you will heal that person and let the person open up and be able to speak to anyone he or she trusts. This and many other blessings we ask through your Son Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that beautiful prayer.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you all. And
Rhoda is my firstborn, by the
cannot
way.
leave, yeah.
Rhoda is my firstborn.
Those of you who
And I
want
don't
to
forget
cut
Facebook is
around.
live. If you want to disconnect Facebook, because it's still live.
Pardon?
Facebook is still live. Don't forget. So you need to disconnect that for the chat.
Okay.
Okay, so Elom is asking whether the screenshots can be posted. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'll send it to Nana and she will handle it.
Yes, please. I'll post it. I'll post it to our WhatsApp group. Thank you all. Thanks so much.
Please, can we redo the screenshots?
Hey, who is this? Who is that? Who was asking?
Ifwa.
Ifwa, okay, Ifwa, let's see your lovely face and then we'll do the screenshot. Where's Ifwa? Oh, there you are, Ifwa.
I can't see Ifwa.
We are doing a video call. They're mining something, and they are taking a picture.
Hey, yes, I want to get the maximum light, so. Okay, here we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
You're on candid camera. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. Naneke, I'll send them all to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Elom,
much.
where's Elom? Is she go? Yeah, Elom, all the best in your studies, please.
Thank you.
When you graduate, I'll come to tech.
Okay.
And I'll be wearing a big hat and a big boo-boo and showing off. I said, I know Elom, the new doctor in town. All the best in your training. Take care. Thank you, Nanekia. Thank you, Maggie. Everybody. Kaliandra,
It was nice
everyone.
seeing everybody. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm just gonna end the meeting. I don't even know how to end it now because I switched to my phone.
I'm just trying to be polite.
Oh, okay, then stay there.
Yes.
Then be polite and be there. We'll be there the whole day.
Right. You have to wait for all people to leave before you leave. So I'm trying to be polite.
Yeah.